Welcome. We'd like to start with asking for a motion to appoint Laura Hendricks as Treasurer Pro Tem this evening. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Ms. Davison?
Yes. Thank you for attending the June 13th, 2022 meeting of the Westerville City Schools Board of Education. The agenda will be displayed on the screens in the front of the room, and there will be 2 opportunities to address the board this evening. First being agenda item 7.1. The first set of public comments is relative to agenda items 8.1 through 12.4. Please state the agenda items you are referencing at the beginning of your comments. The second opportunity is agenda item 13.1. There's a sign-up sheet located in the back table of the room, and each speaker will have 5 minutes to address the board, and a timer will be shown on the screen. And with that, Ms. Hendricks, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Bell?
Here.
Mrs. Meyer?
Here.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Here.
Mrs. Altman?
Here.
Mrs. Davidson?
Here. Will you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we do not have any district highlights this evening. So 5.1, may I have a motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting held Monday, May 23rd, 2022, and the special session held on Tuesday, May 31st, 2022, as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments here? Okay. Hearing none?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. We do not have any reports this evening, and we do not have any public comments, which takes us to financials. 8.1, a resolution to approve the purchases in accordance with ORC 5705.41 and Board Policy 6320. May I have a motion?
So moved. Second.
And Ms. Hendricks, do you want to talk to us a little bit about this?
Yes, there are 2 for your approval tonight. One is a graduation item. Vendor changed information, so the PO was open originally, but we had to open a new PO once we got the invoice and realized that the vendor was changed. Another one was a food service for some pizza. So, yeah, those were 2 items tonight.
Okay, great. Any questions or comments here? Hearing none?
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. Would it be okay if we took the personnel consent agenda as one? May I have a motion for 9.1 through 9.15 for the personnel consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Reeves, welcome.
Welcome. Thank you, and good evening, President Davidson, members of the board, Dr. Kellogg, and Mrs. Hendricks. I'd like to present to you for your consideration tonight's personnel consent agenda. The items in tonight's agenda represent mostly our regular action items with regard to resignations, hiring, changes of assignments, and contract status changes. There are, however, a few items to be noted in tonight's agenda. Tonight, we are asking the board to consider and approve the following. There are 5 licensed and 27 non-substitute classified resignations before the board this evening. Now, that number is quite a bit higher for classified, as we are sunsetting our Success Coach program throughout the district. Among those resignations is Dr. Paul Hopkins, who will be heading to the land of higher education at Capital University. And although Dr. Hopkins has only been with us for 4 years as the Executive Director of HR, and most recently the Assistant Superintendent for Teaching and Learning, he leaves behind a lasting legacy and a lot of lasting friendships, and he'll be missed. We welcome to our district 5 non-substitute classified employees and 17 licensed positions. Included in our recommendations for hire are 2 new administrators to our district. Angela Hayes will become the new assistant principal at McVeigh Elementary, and Tara Spears will join the administrative team at Westerville South High School. We have quite a few changes of assignments for the board to consider this evening, including 10 classified changes, 9 temporary classified changes, which represent their work over the summer, and 29 changes of assignments for the licensed classification. Most of those changes represent vacancies that still need to be filled, and we are working very hard to fill them. We also have several contract status changes for the board to consider, 12 for classified and 6 for licensed. Of those 6, 5 represent movement within our leadership team. Amanda Koenig, who's with us tonight, will be moving to become the assistant principal at Wilder and Faust Elementary School. So welcome to that role, Amanda. Rachel Lacey honed her leadership skills as the elementary ed tech coach and will become the assistant principal at Point View and Amherst. Cheryl Relford, who is with us tonight as well, is recommended to become our next executive director of elementary teaching and learning. Welcome to that role, Cheryl. We are excited to recommend Dawn Sayer as the next principal of Westerville Central High School, and Dawn is with us tonight as well. Welcome to that role, Dawn. Anitra Simmons will transition from her role as the assistant principal at Heritage to lead the Department of Educational Equity. Those 5 recommendations represent our commitment to grow our leadership team from within, and we think that those hires will make Westerville even stronger, so we're excited about that. There are one-time pays for the board to consider as we are in full swing with summer activities and camps and summer training for teachers. And lastly, we have 2 retirements this evening for the board to consider. Doris Ross Pickens is retiring from her position with the Transportation Department with 22 years of service to the district. And Jeff Aquilo is retiring as a math teacher at Westerville Central High School after 24 years of service to the district. Collectively, Jeff and Doris have served Westerville City Schools for 46 years. And 46 years takes us back to the bicentennial year of 1976, when, in the aftermath of Vietnam and the Watergate scandal, America elected a friendly peanut farmer from Georgia. Jimmy Carter narrowly defeated incumbent Gerald Ford, and although we've had several presidents who were never elected president, like the well-known Andrew Johnson and Millard Fillmore, Gerald Ford has the dubious distinction of neither being elected president or vice president. But before he left office in 1976, Gerald Ford officially made February Black History Month. The financial move of the year goes to Ronald Wayne. Ronald Wayne was the 3rd co-founder of Apple, who sold his 10% share in the company for $800. Not bad, but if he'd held on to that 10%, it would be worth $35 billion today. That summer, the Big Red Machine tore through Major League Baseball as the Cincinnati Reds went on to win the 1976 World Series. The Indiana Hoosiers won the NCAA basketball championship and remain the last undefeated team to win the March Madness title. In the movie theaters, Americans cheered as Rocky cried out for Adrian after his epic battle with Apollo Creed, and we gasped as King Kong jumped from one World Trade Center to the other. We thought the Fonz was cool, and little boys ran in slow motion like the $6 Million Man. Today, $6 million might only get Steve Austin a new foot. We danced to everything from the Bee Gees to Donna Summer, and KC and the Sunshine Band implored the world to shake, 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 and a little closer to home. As we now prepare to open a brand new building, the spring of 1976 saw the end of the historic first school year of Westerville North High School, led by its first ever principal, Lee Whitaker. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
As always, well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mrs. Altman,
Yes.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer,
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker,
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson.
Yes. I'd like to take old business as one motion also. May I have a motion for 10.1 through 10.9?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments here on any of these Hearing none.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. New business, 11.1, first reading middle school updated course titles. And Knapp is with us tonight. Dr. Knapp, I'm sorry.
Yes. Hi, good evening. I was hoping there was going to be a little bit more space between him going and me, but, I'll try. During new teacher orientation, I would have to go after Joy Rose and, now, the North principal, the very well-known Jim McCann. So, he's no Jim McCann. Right? Okay. But I'm sure he's working on it. So good evening, everyone. Thank you for approving the previous board agenda items, and I would like to give a special thank you to Mrs. Baldwin for presenting all of those and reading everything in May as I attended my son's lacrosse game. So thank you. So we have two titles that we're asking to change in middle school. One is Accelerated Math 7. It was adopted in approximately 2015 when the standards changed the most, significantly, and included the mathematical practices. These are Ohio's new learning standards. They've since dropped the name new. So these allowed students to access all math content, as previously, it really changed from spiraling from year to year to spiraling within the year. So, we'd have students who would jump into pre-algebra in 7th grade, which was an 8th grade course, and they would miss that 7th grade content. So the state of Ohio did a really nice job realigning that. And Accelerated Math 7 has always included all of math, all of 7th grade math, and 2/3 of 8th grade math. Well, as teachers, and this was completely brought by our middle school teachers, they said, it really doesn't explain that it includes 8th grade. And so they had a lot of conversation. Curriculum Council, did their job. The Curriculum Council person, Laura Doritas from middle school math, came and said, I've met with all the math teachers. We would like to recommend Accelerated Math 7-8, because then it shows the parents and the students that it does include 8th grade math. So that is one of the course titles. The second one is Global Game Changers, which we, as adults, thought was a fantastic name when we had middle school redesign. We're like, kids are going to love it. And kids love it. They do. However, we have a population of students who thought they were signing up for gaming. And they get there and they're like, what? And we do have a middle school, we have course descriptions, but, I have high schoolers now, not so, long ago I had middle schoolers, so I'm like, I get it. So we are asking that name change to Exploring Global Issues, because that's in fact what the students will be doing. And this aligns very well with Global Scholars that we offer in our high schools. So those are the two name changes. Clarifications, you won't see courses of study because the physical course of study, those two courses of study aren't changing. So questions over those two?
One.
Yes.
Can you please explain the difference between advanced, accelerated, and compacted? As I know that we have families who get confused by that, and when they hear the term accelerated, they think their child is being accelerated, as we typically do that via a grade level.
Yes. And we had a lot of conversation. We had a principal meeting around this. We had 2 curriculum council meetings around this and got feedback. So we have advanced coursework that aligns and supports our gifted students in middle school. We felt that was a huge area that we needed to address. So probably, I'm dating myself, 5 to 8 years ago, I'm going to take a stab at that, we added the advanced courses. And what we have shifted to align to our equity work is in grades 7 and 8, students can choose to enroll in those courses. The compacted class, we have a compacted 7-8. Ohio Revised Code has a super cool rule that says you can't access high school social studies content until you've completed American history, which is offered in grade 8. and we had a population of students in one of our buildings in particular that was going through Apex on their own or trying, with teacher support. This is probably 10 years ago. See, I'm giving a history lesson. It's just nowhere as cool as the one that was given before, about 10 years ago. And so what we wanted to avoid, and our students, and our teachers wanted to avoid, is students kind of leaving the classroom to do their own thing in grade 8. And I'm giving the longer version. So what we did is we developed a course in collaboration with our social studies teachers in the gifted department very closely to have grade 7 social studies and grade 8 taught over the course of 1 year. So that is compacted into 1 year.
So it's 2 full years.
2 full years of a course in 1 year. You will see that brought before you next year as we look to align in collaboration with the gifted department to organize that in a more more thoughtful way. We just know that it needs some work, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback that you'll probably see next year from students and parents. We surveyed them this year. What did you like? What did you not like? What were some pros and cons as we move forward with just revising that course of study? So compacted, all of grade 7, all of grade 8, social studies taken in grade 7. This allows students to take the 9th grade American history course, which is our first course for credit. And they typically take the honor, when they're in grade 8, they take the honors American history course. And then the accelerated course, really that came from the state, and it puts all of grades, and accelerated is only in math. In middle school, it's the accelerated math, potentially 7, 8, that has all of grade 7 and 2 parts of grade 8. And we had a lot of conversations around, since this course is 1 2/3, is that really advanced? And do we change all of the names? And we thought that would be more confusing than anything else. So we kept.
I think it's plenty confusing.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Good with that. That's very helpful, because when I see accelerated and compacted and advanced, and then people ask me, what's the difference and where should their child be, I sometimes am a little lost.
Okay, and we can.
Not sure what the difference is.
Yes, and I can definitely articulate that more succinctly on our website to help parents. I also, currently the compacted course is specific to students who have been identified as gifted
Only.
and superior cog for the 7. We are looking into expanding those offerings, but we are not at that point as of this moment. So be looking for that, and we have had conversations. So our accelerated math course that's a 7th grade course. Any student can enroll in that. The compacted is for superior cog and gifted identified students. And the advanced courses also in grade 6, we keep with the recommendations, and then in 7, 8 have students are able to be,
So
it's
what
self-select
you're
in grade
telling
7 and
me
8.
Is I should have asked my daughter.
Well, she's definitely a part of the compacted, for sure. And then with, accelerated, and now I'm on my soapbox. You guys thought this meeting was going to end early. We really made an effort to allow students to self-select in grades 7 and 8. And the first year we did it, we had 60 students choose to be in Algebra 1 that weren't previously selected based on their academic performance, and 54 successfully completed the course. And so that was, and I could find data on, for years since then, but that was definitely one of my proudest moments, just to see that making the opportunity for our students ended up to be as successful as it was.
Thanks for the definitions. I really do appreciate it, because I have been confused.
Okay, sorry. And Kaylee knows too. Are we ready to move on to medical detectives?
Sure.
And these two are very, medical detectives and health, you'll see a lot of similarities. So, and these 2 courses, as well as the name changes, have been recommended by our middle school curriculum council. Earlier this spring, it was determined to expand both medical detectives and health from quarter-long courses to semester courses. These are exploratory and required for all 7th graders. Project Lead the Way curriculum serves as the core content of medical detectives. It's also the core content for engineering and then our health pathway, engineering pathway at our high schools. Lengthening the course from 1 quarter to 1 semester allows for deeper exploration of content, an additional focus on viruses, public health and epidemiology, I can't say it now that I'm looking at it, and an integration of a literacy component. And what's interesting is in middle school science, in the Ohio standards, there's no mention of viruses. Isn't that interesting? Those went away like back in 18. We had science teachers very upset. Maybe in the next, revision of our middle school science courses, that will change. Incorporating grade level appropriate fiction and nonfiction texts fosters reading and writing skills across the content area. We did not put in ELA standards specifically. We talked a lot about that, but just encouraging the use of literature that supports the science content. And the new course of study reflects these. It does align vertically with the courses in the health pathway, as I mentioned, as well as the newly enhanced 7th grade health class. And this also will reduce the amount of time that our students, our 7th grade students, are in study hall. And so that's an added bonus. The first bonus being, the enriching learning opportunities that they will have. Questions on medical detectives? And last is health. Lengthening this course also allows for deeper exploration with a focus on more recent components of health and wellness that include sexting, vaping, stress, and stress-relieving techniques. We have also reintroduced the body systems unit. So health used to be, as some of you may remember, a semester in 8th grade that was required by all students who didn't take a language. And so we've really returned to the basis of that course of study and provided some updates. And in collaboration with Lindsay Manzo, who oversaw the changes in medical detectives with those teachers, we did a crosswalk to make sure there weren't overlapping things, and we think there's a great opportunity for those teachers to collaborate in the future as they talk about body systems. So this also aligns with our K-5 health course of study and our 9th grade course, or high school course. Most students take it in 9th grade. Questions on that one?
I just have a quick fiscal question. So just wondering if you can talk through briefly on taking these from quarter to semester, right? And like at the bottom of the health course of study, it says fiscal impact none. So can
There's
you
an
just
FTE impact,
talk
right.
about, yeah, there's an FTE impact there.
And I might lean on Ann Baldwin to remind me of the FTE impact from quarter to semester. I know we've had a lot of conversations, but I'm afraid to say the wrong.
We asked for 7, but we're going to be coming up with 5.
Okay.
Look at our schedules for the middle schools.
Uh-huh.
So we were able to collaborate and not use as many. So I think
Scott? Was it 4? So
Goes back.
a semester
You could
is
get back to me, I
4.5?
just am asking. That's fine.
but it's less than our initial ask. We were able to utilize our resources.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
Back when we did that discussion in the
Yep.
winter,
Yep.
it was 7 was the FT we thought, and through going through the master schedule center, we're actually going to be less than 7 in order to do these 2 expansions, and there was a couple other pieces.
Middle school
pieces-
instructional coach.
Right, middle school instruction. So they did a great job of keeping it under what we thought it was going to need to be,
Yes.
so, and solving the problem.
Yeah, thanks. That was, my recollection was that this was getting wrapped into those 7, but I would love to have somebody come back and sort of talk through where we are on that. And I just felt like if somebody saw this, it might be sort of a question mark, like how can you expand a course from a quarter to semester and have no fiscal impact?
Right, yes, and
There are
typically
other
we put.
pieces that it's
Right,
connected to.
yes,
so.
yes, and we can be inclusive of FTE moving forward. Typically, it's been materials where
Right.
it's not necessary, so that's a good call out and a good add. Thank you.
No, thank you.
Anything else? Thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us. Recommended action, standing business, 12.1, resolution, Rejected bids for the 2022 roofing improvement at Westerville South High School and improving pricing established under the Master Intergovernmental Cooperative Purchasing Agreement and approving the 2022 roofing improvements for Emerson Elementary School. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Dorn is going to explain this to us.
Good evening, President Davidson, Vice President Altman, members of the board, Dr. Kellogg, and Ms. Hendricks. The scope of work for bid package 1 includes the replacement of the existing rubber roof on areas 4 and 5 at Westerville South High School. Area 4 is the north and south academic wings of the original building, and Area 5 is west of the media center. These roofs are 20 years old and have reached the end of their life cycle. The OFCC's Building Condition Assessment Report for South High School, performed in 2021, rated these roofs as being in poor condition. The scope of work for bid package 2 is for a total replacement of the shingled roof at Emerson Elementary. The existing roof is 25 years old and has been identified by the district's maintenance department as a priority for replacement this summer. Bids were solicited in accordance with the Ohio Revised Code on May 9th. We received 4 bids that were publicly read on May 23rd. The lowest bid for bid package 1 is approximately $137,000 over the pricing established under the Master Intergovernmental Cooperative Purchasing Agreement with Garland DBS. The lowest responsible bid for bid package 2 was submitted by Revere Roofing in the amount of $139,600 and is approximately $62,000 under the cooperative purchasing pricing with Garland. The total for bid package 1 using cooperative purchasing price and bid package 2 using the lowest bidder from the public bid is $898,191, or 31% under the architect's estimate. It is being recommended that the board reject the bid for bid package 1 and enter into a contract under the Master Intergovernmental Cooperative Purchasing Agreement with Garland DBS in the amount of $758,591, and also to accept Revere Roofing's bid for bid package 2 in the amount of $139,600. This is as long as the title, wasn't it?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah.
Any questions? Hearing none.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. 12.2. I'm sorry. Corrective action realignment maps. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
In March of 2021, the board approved the elementary and middle school boundaries as recommended by the elementary school, and middle school realignment committees. Now, the maps produced by our vendor partners contained some minor irregularities in translating the recommended boundaries from the realignment committee's work maps to their maps. Given that the board approved the vendor maps in the first place, we've brought this corrective action resolution before you this evening so that the published maps are truly representative of the realignment committee's recommendations. Throughout this entire process, we have utilized the data from the realignment committee's maps to assign schools for next year. Thus, the corrective action is not going to change students' assignments as intended by the realignment committees. It merely authorizes us to correct the published maps moving forward. So it is being recommended that the board approve these maps and allow the superintendent and other district administrators to make similar adjustments to those published maps if other errors are identified.
Any questions or comments here? Oh, hearing none.
All right. Dr. Nestor Baker?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. 12.3, a resolution for bus driver hiring incentives. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
And Mr. Dorn again.
This resolution in front of you tonight is to revise the practices of hiring incentives for bus drivers. Currently, the district is engaged in providing signing and referral bonuses as well as paying all upfront costs for new drivers, both with and without CDLs. This resolution is requesting increases in the incentives and referral bonuses. It also further defines when the drivers and referral team members would receive the bonus. The board approved a pilot program in 2019. That program was successful in helping us find several drivers. In 2020, the board approved the continuation of that pilot program. While the program has aided the district in recruiting additional drivers, we are still in a deficit, which has caused numerous disruptions and reduced performances. The resolution in front of you this evening requests increases in the incentives to entice more experienced CDL holders to come to Westerville to drive our students to and from school each day. We are currently down 10 drivers. However, our target is 15 to 20 new drivers to fill those 10 vacancies and to have sub-drivers to maintain continuity on a daily basis. The district's maximum financial exposure for the incentives for 20 new drivers who come to the district with an existing CDL with appropriate endorsements is $50,000. There are additional incentives for non-CDL holders, referral incentives, and an incentive for a CDL holder who comes to the district as an onboard instructor, which is a trainer for other bus drivers, that are not included in that noted financial exposure. It is being recommended to the board that the increases in hiring incentives be approved as presented.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none. Thank you, Mr. Dorn.
Mrs. Meyer.
Yes.
Mr. Bell.
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker.
Yes.
Mrs. Altman.
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson.
Yes. 12.4, 2022 annual tax budget for the Westerville Public Library. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Take your pick.
And Ms. Hendricks, whenever you're ready, you want to talk to us about this?
So this is just an annual appropriation of the library's budget. They've already approved it at their meeting, as we are the taxing authority in Ohio for the library. We also need your approval as well.
Any comments or questions here? No? You good, Nancy?
Mrs. Altman.
Yes.
Mr. Bell.
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer.
Yes.
Dr. Nestor Baker.
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson.
Yes. We do not have any public comments this evening, so that takes us to board comments. And does anyone have any comments, and would they like to go first?
Sure, I'll go.
Okay.
First, just congratulations to all of the movement and to Cheryl and Dawn and Amanda and Dr. Hopkins and everybody else. It's really fantastic. Although we have a lot more hiring to do, so some people are away. I just wanted to give a quick update on House Bill 99. On June 1st, House Bill 99, sponsored by Representative Thomas Hall, who's a Republican from Madison Township, was sent to the governor's desk for either his signature or veto. House Bill 99 allows teachers to carry guns in the classroom. Under current law, the teacher needs board approval and more than 700 hours of training. Under House Bill 99, the teacher still needs board approval, but training is capped at 24 hours unless the board requires more. This district has always taken the position not to arm teachers, but if you feel inclined, please call Governor DeWine and ask him to veto this bill. He has signaled he will sign it. That's it.
I just want to say how delighted I am by the actions that we took with the personnel consent calendar this evening. Welcome to those of you who are taking new positions. Welcome to those new positions. It is testament to your strengths as Westerville City Schools employee that you're moving into additional responsibilities that have even greater impact on children and young people. So thank you for being willing to take those steps. It's great. And congratulations to Higher Ed for snaring Dr. Hopkins. And you will always be our friend here. So we wish you all the best.
I would only add to what's already been said and shared. Congratulations to all of the graduates. We've not met since graduation Saturday. So congratulations to all of those students and families. Looking forward to great things from them. Also want to thank Greg V. Brantz and the Communications Department, as well as Jill Beck and Scott Dorn, and all who had played a part in the ribbon cutting ceremony for Minerva France Elementary School this past week. The building looks spectacular, and really looking forward to a great year for all of the staff and students and families that will be attending Minerva France.
Well, I will echo all of those comments and not repeat them, except to say I was really so excited to be in that building with kids who will attend next year. That was just fantastic. So thank you to everybody who has helped make that building a reality. The other thing I just wanted to say is that it's Pride Month. So just a reminder that it's Pride Month, and when we celebrate these various months throughout the year, of course, we put a spotlight on those things, but they should be part of our thinking all the time. So I guess that's just my call out and reminder for this month. So thanks.
I'm not going to repeat everything. I agree. So I echo all these comments. 15.1, the board will meet in special executive session on Thursday, June 16, 2022 at 6 p.m. here at the Early Learning Center, and a regular session on Monday, June 27th at 6 p.m. and Friday, July 8th, 2022 at 8 a.m. We are sure you will all be here at the Early Learning Center. And with that, may I have a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of discussing employment and compensation of a school employee?
So moved.
Second.
Mrs. Bell?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Dr. Lester?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. So thank you all for joining us this evening. We're going to head into executive session, and we'll come back here and adjourn. If you want to stay until we adjourn, that is fine. If not, hopefully we'll see you next time. We have just returned from executive session, and I would like to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Meyer?
Yes.
Dr. Nesterman?
Yes.
Mrs. Altman?
Yes.
Mrs. Davidson?
Yes. And we're adjourned.